Ever feel like you're getting whiplash from all the science headlines? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on a really powerful tool that researchers use to cut through all that noise and find a single, clear answer. Welcome to The Explainer.
You know the feeling, right? You see a headline that gives you some clear advice and you think, okay, great. But then the very next day, you see another one saying the complete opposite. So one day, coffee is this miracle drink for your brain. And the next, it's a one-way ticket to an anxiety attack. This constant back and forth isn't just frustrating. It creates a ton of what you might call scientific noise. So, with all this noise, and with literally thousands of studies being published every year, how in the world do we find the real signal? How do we get a definitive answer to one simple, important question? Well, the answer, it turns out, is not new at all. As this quote from way back in 1982 points out, the real foundation of science isn't about finding that one perfect study. It's all about combining the knowledge from many different studies to see the bigger picture. And to do that, scientists have a really powerful statistical method that's designed to bring all that knowledge together. It's called a meta-analysis. Simply put, a meta-analysis is a study of studies. Instead of going out and collecting new data from people, it collects data from studies that have already been done. It's kind of like a scientific census, gathering all the existing evidence to find the overall trend and calculate one single summary effect. But you can't just throw a bunch of studies into a blender and hit puree. Nope. A proper, unbiased meta-analysis has to follow a very rigorous and transparent blueprint. So let's take a look at it. So here it is, the full 8-step plan. Now, I know that looks like a lot, but it really all boils down to two main phases: really careful planning and then some very disciplined execution. Let's walk through it. Phase 1 is the foundation. And these first 4 steps are all about making sure the entire project is built on solid, unbiased ground before a single number even gets crunched. Everything starts with a super specific question. Not just, is coffee good for you, but something much more focused, like, what's the effect of 2 cups of coffee a day on short-term memory? That level of precision guides every single decision from here on out. Next, the researchers go on this exhaustive hunt for every relevant study on that specific question. They don't just search one database, they search a whole bunch of them, and they document their exact process so anyone can check their work. The goal here is to cast the widest net possible. And this is where it gets really important. This whole step is designed to fight a massive bias in science called the file drawer problem. Just think about it for a second. Studies with exciting, positive results, they get published. But studies that find nothing, no effect at all, well, they often get stuck in a file drawer somewhere, and we never see them. Including this unpublished gray literature is absolutely crucial for getting an accurate picture. Okay, finally, in steps 3 and 4, the researchers have to decide what to measure. That's the effect size, which is really just a number showing the strength of a finding, and then they pick the right statistical tool for the job. And as you can see here, there's a specific tool for just about every kind of question, whether you're finding a simple average or trying to figure out what makes an effect stronger or weaker. All right, the plan is set, the foundation is laid, and now it's time for phase 2, executing the analysis. This is where all the data from all those studies finally gets gathered up and the real number crunching can begin. Step 5 is pretty straightforward. You have to choose the right software. And researchers have a whole host of really powerful options, from coding languages like R to more specialized programs. Next up, step 6 is the coding process. And let me tell you, this is some seriously painstaking work. For every single study they include, researchers have to meticulously pull out all the key information, things like the effect size, the sample size, details about the participants, and enter it all into one master spreadsheet, just like this one. And now, step 7. It's finally time to run the analysis. But it's not as simple as just hitting a button. A huge part of this step is actively looking for problems in the data, like checking for weird outliers or using tools to make sure that file drawer problem we talked about isn't biasing the final results. So after all of that incredibly careful work, what's the big payoff? I mean, why should you care about any of this? Because a well-done meta-analysis gives us the single most reliable answer we can possibly get. By bringing together all the available evidence, it lets us finally see the true signal that was hidden inside all that scientific noise. It gives us a conclusion that's way more robust than any single study ever could on its own. And this is why it is so critical. Remember that file drawer problem? Well, get this. One study found that published papers inflate their effects by an average of 30% compared to the unpublished ones. That is a huge difference.
So the bottom line is this. Meta-analysis is the best tool we have to correct for that inflation. By actively searching for and including those studies from the file drawer, it puts all the evidence out on the table and gives us the clearest possible view of reality. And honestly, understanding this makes you a much smarter, much savvier consumer of scientific news.
So, we'll leave you with this question. Now that you know the tools science uses to sort fact from fiction, what's that one big confusing question out there that you think really needs a meta-analysis next?